I mentioned that Bitcoin is a digital cryptocurrency. It's sometimes said that Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency or a currency backed by math rather than a government. The blockchain is essentially a ledger that tracks the creation of every coin and the transfer of coins from user to user. So we've talked about the first Bitcoin being created. We've talked about the blockchain being a ledger that keeps track of every Bitcoin that was created and every transfer of a coin or a fraction of a coin. So how does a Bitcoin go from not existing to existing? Well, a Bitcoin is essentially an answer to a math problem. The math problem is a hashing function. Hashing functions are one-way functions that turn any size amount of data as input into a fixed size output. The output size is 1024 bits for all of Bitcoin hashes. So by comparison, an IP version 6 address is 128 bits and is enough addresses to give every atom on Earth its own IP address. So our miner's task is to find a hash value that is less than or equal to the target hash value, which was set by Bitcoin itself, by the organization. So there are 21 million hash values that are possible. Of these, 17.5 million have been solved. So with the 1024 bits, that's roughly 179 plus 36 zeros of available values. So all we have to do is find the correct 3.5 million values that remain of those 179, whatever 36 zeros is called. So because we can't predict output based on input, we don't know what to try. So we just keep trying things until we find a solution that is accepted. And that is how the Bitcoin comes into creation, or comes into existence rather. So now we have a Bitcoin that's come into existence. Now we want to be able to transfer this Bitcoin from one user to another user. So how do we do this? Well, first we want a user, say Alice here, to say that she wants to transfer to Bob. Several of the nodes that you see here in this ring will say that that is possible. One advantage of this is we want to ensure that Alice does not transfer the same Bitcoin to Bob as she transfers, say, to Charlie. So we want to know that it can be transferred, and once it is transferred, it has been transferred. Alice no longer has it, and Bob does. This is done with this distributed ledger. So the advantage of a distributed ledger is that any one computer that has the ledger can stop working, or even actively attempt to alter the register. But the ledger will stay accurate and will not have a break in service. And the ledger will reflect the change in balance in the two accounts, so that Alice has 2 less Bitcoin and Bob has 2 more Bitcoin. So we've talked about how they come into existence, and we've talked about how to transfer them. But let's think about, why are they worth money? First, are they worth money? Well, yes. As you can see in this chart here, Bitcoins started at around 35 cents per Bitcoin and went to about $17,000 per Bitcoin there in 2018. The current value is about $5,200 per Bitcoin. But why are they worth anything, regardless of the specific amount? Well, like most securities, because someone else thinks so. So if we have enough people that think they're worth $5,000 per Bitcoin, then they are. Also, if you've gotten far enough in math, you have thought about paying someone else to do your math homework. So it's basically the same idea. So we've seen that they are worth money. And if we think about it as paying someone else to do your math homework, how much will that person want to get paid? Well, they want to get paid enough to pay for whatever it costs to produce. So how much does it cost to produce? Well, a specialized computer for the purpose can be purchased for around $2,000. The other cost that goes into it is the electrical power. So generally, we think of the electrical power as costing about half what the coin will be worth. So in a year, you could look at the $2,000 computer will go in, $2,600 approximately will go into electrical power, and you'll get $5,200 in the Bitcoin that you produce. So you're up $600 with just 1 year of waiting and around $4,600 in. I haven't tried to figure out the return on investment there. Also, the price decays of the Bitcoins, so by the time you're done, it might not be worth $5,200 anymore. It might be worth $4,600, so it might be a break-even proposition for you. So to review, no one really knows why Bitcoins are worth money other than some people think so. Enough people think so. They don't have a role in an industrial process like gold does. They don't represent a share of ownership in a legal entity like a stock does represent a share of ownership in a company. And they're not backed by a government. They just are worth money because they are.